Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is continuing the bullish breakout to the upside, breaking above critical resistance in the short term, while Ethereum is also now breaking out to the upside from this bullish pattern, not just on the smaller timeframes, but also on the larger timeframes, setting up a huge price target, which I'll talk about later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just giving you a really quick update here on the weekly Bitcoin chart. And right now, we are just hours away from seeing the next weekly candle close confirm. And right now, obviously, as I'm recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is trading well above this area of resistance, which was sitting in between around 36,000 to 38,000. And so obviously, if the price of Bitcoin just remains above 38K, right where it is right now, over the next few hours for this weekly candle close, then obviously that would mean we would confirm the breakout with a weekly candle close above this strong area of resistance. And obviously over the last few weeks, this area of resistance has slowed down the price of Bitcoin in this larger bullish trend. But of course, now that we're seeing a breakout to the upside, the next significant level of resistance on the weekly time frame is sitting at around 42,000. And above that, we have much more resistance at around 48 to 49,000 based on Fibonacci levels. And also, if we do end up confirming this breakout with a weekly candle close on the weekly time frame, then of course this previous area of resistance just here in between 36k to 38k could now act as new support again, like what we saw all the way back here near the beginning of 2022. And ever since the very beginning of this year, obviously I've been very bullish on the price of Bitcoin on the larger trend at play. So as for the larger trend here on the weekly time frame, for example, on the larger time frames, obviously we're still looking bullish, forming significant higher lows and higher highs, which is what I've been talking about basically non-stop since below 20k. And of course, also on the 4-day Bitcoin chart, we already have an active bullish breakout for an active bullish cup and handle pattern here on the much larger timeframes, setting up a huge bullish price target near $60,000. And now, once again, even though I'm very bullish on the price of Bitcoin on the larger trend here on the larger timeframes, of course, I don't necessarily expect the price to head up towards 60,000 this year, considering we have less than a month to go until this year ends. But potentially sometime during next year, sometime during 2024, we could end up seeing the price of Bitcoin back up towards around $60,000. Once again, sometime next year. But obviously, it is very unlikely we will see the price just go there in one straight line without seeing any pullbacks at all. And so it's very likely that between now and then, we will likely see some pullbacks along the way. That's very normal to see. And if you're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, once again, we have a possible bearish divergence forming here on the daily time frame, because right now, obviously, the price of Bitcoin is continuing to form new higher highs, while the RSI, at least as of right now, is still sitting in lower highs. But at least for now, this potential new bearish divergence has not yet been confirmed, because we have not yet cemented the lower high in place in the RSI. And so, for example, if the price of Bitcoin just continues pumping to the upside like it has been doing recently, that could pull the RSI further to the upside. And if the RSI enters higher highs above this previous high, then obviously there's no bearish divergence at all if we have higher highs in the RSI and higher highs in the price. And so once again, due to that, this potential bearish divergence is not yet confirmed. It is potentially forming, so it's something to pay attention to, but it is not yet confirmed. And if you're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin MACD right now, as of recording this video, this is actually crossing back in the bullish direction, showing an increase in bullish momentum after we've seen a bit of a short-term cool-off, a bit of a break in the price of Bitcoin over the last few weeks with a lot of choppy sideways price action. And so essentially this bullish cross in the MACD is telling us that we are potentially now resuming that bullish trend here on the daily time frame after seeing a small pause, a small consolidation within the bullish trend. And once again, that small consolidation right here, that choppy sideways price action that we've seen over the last couple of weeks was a result of a previous bearish divergence here on the daily Bitcoin chart, but that did not result in a lot of bearish price action in any significant pullback because the DXY or US dollar index has been dumping this entire time ever since basically the beginning of October. And so once again, as I've been saying this entire time, this is a very bullish signal for the price of Bitcoin. So I would not necessarily expect a significant pullback like a 15 to 20% pullback or anything bigger than that, while the DXY is still looking like this. And now obviously if we see a strong bullish reversal in the DXY, then it becomes more likely that we could see a 15 or 20% pullback in the price of Bitcoin. But obviously, we have not yet seen any bullish reversal signal here in the DXY. The DXY is still looking bearish, which once again is bullish for the price of Bitcoin in terms of the trend and momentum. And now, obviously, we can still experience day-to-day volatility in the price of Bitcoin, like for example, 5% moves up or down just in the short term on smaller timeframes. That's always a possibility, even if the DXY is dumping. But when it comes to the larger moves on the price of Bitcoin, like these short-term bullish and bearish trends, like for example, 15, 20, 25% pullbacks or pumps to the upside, once again, we can only really expect those more significant pullbacks if the DXY has a strong bullish reversal, which right now has not happened. And if you're zooming into the 8-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously in the short term, we are still trending bullish, forming higher lows and higher highs. And in fact, right now, the price of Bitcoin is attempting a breakout even outside of this bullish trend, flipping even more bullish. And obviously, the bullish breakout trade that I've been talking about here on the channel ever since the breakout all the way back down here is continuing as expected. And so congrats to those of you who actually took this trade, which I talked about even before we saw this breakout. And during the retest, I was talking about this trading opportunity and how we will likely see a breakout like this. And once again, I did take this trade over on Bybit, and you can see the profit so far right here on your screen. And I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comment if you want to take trades just like this. And in fact, if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account, you can deposit on that account and get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus only if you use that link down below this video. But unfortunately, you may not be able to access Bybit in some countries around the world. And so if that's the case, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit where you can take these trades, but you don't need KYC with Bitflex. And I'll make sure to leave a link to Bitflex in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link to make a Bitflex account, deposit $100 worth of crypto or more on that account and make one trade over on Bitflex, that can get you 10 USDT for free. So that's basically a free 10% return on a $100 deposit. And so if you're trading crypto anyway, or if you're getting ready to soon trade crypto, you might as well check out those links down below this video for those extra deposit bonuses. And just giving you a quick update on this breakout trade here on the 6-hour Bitcoin chart. Once again, the price has obviously continued further to the upside since my last video. And so since my last update video, I have personally moved my stop loss slightly further into profits, but I have not taken any further profits from this breakout trade, at least as of right now. Obviously, as I said a couple of days ago, I did take a small amount of profits off the table right around here because we were running into a bit of short-term resistance, but I left the remainder of the trade open. So I still remained long on the price of Bitcoin, which obviously right now is continuing to profit. And because my stop loss is also in profits above my entry price, of course, even in the worst case scenario, if we dump right now, I leave with profits either way because my stop loss is sitting in profits. And once again, as I've said over the last few days, since all the way back down here, the technical price target for this breakout is sitting at around $41,000. And so I do have my take profit for this specific trade just underneath that technical price target. And now, of course, that is not personal financial advice for you because I don't know your personal financial situation. That is just being transparent with my personal trading strategy for this specific breakout trade right here. And obviously, just recently, because the price of Bitcoin has continued further to the upside in this bullish breakout, we have now also broken out above this line of resistance, which we were running into a couple of days ago, and that was sitting at around 38.7 to 38.8k. And so now that we have seen this breakout to the upside above this line of resistance, this is basically getting rid of this potential bearish pattern that was forming a few days ago here. But obviously, as I said in my recent videos, this pattern never actually confirmed. It was just forming. But now that this pattern has broken out to the upside, we can just focus on this bullish breakout for this ascending triangle pattern here on the 6-hour time frame. But personally, let's just say if I missed this breakout trade altogether, would I enter a long position right now? And well, the answer to that is no. I would not enter into a new long position right now because the risk to reward ratio for this specific breakout trade right here is not ideal from where we are right now. Because for example, if you entered right here, of course, this is not personal financial advice. This is just letting you know what I would do. If I entered right here, for example, then there is quite a large risk to the downside towards the point of invalidation compared to the potential reward left in this trade towards the technical price target. Whereas if you compare that to the point of the breakout, obviously there's a very small risk to invalidate the breakout and a much larger reward left on the table if we're at the point of the breakout. And so of course the price could continue pumping further to the upside, which is why I do have my long position remaining open. open, but you have to understand that my stop loss for this trade is already sitting in profit. So that basically takes the risk out of the picture for my specific trade right here. But if I entered a new long position right now, then of course I'll be taking on more risk of possible downside. And we can actually see that potentially forming here in the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, because first of all, over the last one day, we clearly liquidated all of those short positions with those liquidation levels sitting at around $39,000. And so obviously the price continued above $39,000 as expected, which is what I talked about in my last video. But right now, as of recording this video, of course, we do not really have a lot of liquidations to the upside immediately for the price of Bitcoin, and also immediately to the downside, we don't really have a lot of liquidations either, but we still have some larger liquidation zones well below the price of Bitcoin, sitting closer towards around 36 to 37,000, some closer towards around 38,000. And so basically, if we start to break the bullish price structure by seeing, for example, some lower lows or lower highs just in the immediate short term, then it's possible we could pull back towards around 38,000. But at least for now, we have not yet actually broken the bullish price structure. We are still currently forming higher lows and higher highs, but that's just something worth paying attention to. But anyway, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the weekly ETH to US dollar chart, and right now the price of ETH is potentially attempting a breakout here on the weekly time frame above this significant area of resistance, which once again is sitting in between around $2,000 to $21.50. And obviously just recently we have seen the price of ETH go above $21.50, but we still need to see a confirmed breakout with a weekly candle close above $2,150 in order to actually confirm the breakout for this huge ascending triangle pattern. But like I already said a few weeks ago now on the channel, we already confirmed the breakout here in the weekly Ethereum RSI. And like I said a few weeks ago, that is technically a bullish signal, potentially foreshadowing a breakout in the price. But once again, at least for now, we have not yet confirmed the breakout in the price. But if we do end up confirming the breakout in the price action for this ascending triangle pattern, then that would set up a technical price target for this pattern at approximately $4,300, near the all-time high for the price of ETH. And so from where we are right now to that price target, that's roughly around a 100% gain in the price of ETH, basically doubling your money, and that is without any leverage. And so it's likely that if we confirm this breakout soon in the price of ETH above $2,150, then we will likely see the price of ETH hit above $4,000 at some point during 2024, some point during next year. And if you're taking a look at the daily time frame, of course, just recently we have actually seen a daily candle close above 2,150, which is technically a bullish signal pointing towards a breakout above this resistance. And so this area could now act as a new support, once again sitting in between around 2120 to 2150 here on the daily time frame, now acting as support. But if we actually see a break back below around 2120, then in that case our next support is sitting closer towards around 2010 to 2020. And if we see the price of ETH actually break back below around 2120, then that could potentially confirm this new potential bearish divergence forming here on the daily time frame. Because obviously just recently we have confirmed a new higher high in place in the price, but at least for now we have not yet confirmed this lower high in place in the RSI, but it is potentially forming. And as for the daily Ethereum MACD, right now this is crossing again in the bullish direction, showing an increase in bullish momentum. And so once again, while this is the case and while this bearish divergence is not yet confirmed, at least for now we are still looking more bullish than bearish in terms of the trend here on the daily time frame, especially while the US dollar index or DXY is still dumping. And also here on the 8-hour ETH to US dollar chart, of course, we now have a bullish breakout for this bullish ascending triangle pattern with that resistance line that was sitting at around 2120. And here on the 8-hour time frame, we have now seen two 8-hour candle closes above 2,120, which technically confirms the breakout. And now, of course, we could end up seeing a retest of that level like what we saw here in the price of Bitcoin for this 6-hour chart breakout. And so if we see that happen, that would just further confirm the breakout to the upside. If we see that happen, we don't actually have to see a retest. That's just a possibility. And this breakout to the upside in this pattern and this price target only now invalidate if we actually see a confirmed break back below the point of the breakout, so back below around 2120. And once again, I explained my exact trading strategy for this breakout in my last video. And so if you want that in more detail, check out my last video here on the channel. And since my last video, I have opened a breakout trade, a long position for this breakout in the price of ETH. And if we end up seeing that retest of this previous resistance to flip it into new support around that retest area, personally, I would be adding to my long position for this breakout. But once again, that's just my strategy, not personal financial advice. And once again, as I explained in my last video, with entering this new breakout trade, I have my stop loss just below the point of invalidation in case we invalidate the breakouts, which would essentially exit me out of the trade at a small loss, avoiding further losses in a more bearish scenario. And of course, the amount that I could potentially lose here in a more bearish scenario has already been covered by the profits from this Bitcoin trade. And of course, the risk to reward ratio in the Ethereum trade is much better than the Bitcoin trade right now, because right now the price of Bitcoin is roughly around halfway between the breakout and the price targets, whereas the price of ETH is much closer towards the point of the breakout, meaning there's less risk to the downside towards the point of invalidation and more potential rewards towards the technical price target. And in case you missed my last few videos here on the channel, that technical price target to the upside, which is now in play, is sitting at around 24.30, which from where we are right now to the upside is still around 12 to 13% to the upside. And so, for example, with a 10x leverage trade, that is more than a 100% profit potentially on the table here, which is essentially doubling your money. And once again, if you want to take trades just like this with stop losses and take profits and things like that, make sure you check out either Bybit or Bitflex for those extra bonuses, once again linked down below this video. But either way, whether we are bullish, bearish, or just chopping around sideways, you can actually profit in either of those scenarios by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.